Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of how I add a listing to my Etsy shop. This is my Etsy shop I am logged into right now, Pennies Not Perfection, and it is the shop where I sell currently all digital products. I sell digital downloads, mostly budgeting related planner type items. So today we're going to add a new listing, which is a little bit different. So I am actually going to use eRank to look up some keywords so that I know what to add to the shop because I'm not very familiar with these keywords on Etsy. So this is actually going to be a goal setting worksheet I made for myself, but I want to offer it up as a product for people as well. So I'm just going to put in the very broad goal setting, and I can see that it doesn't necessarily do that well on Etsy, but on Pinterest, this has had a ton of views. So I am going to put this in the back of my mind so that I know that this product will probably do really well being promoted on Pinterest. So it's going to be something that I work hard to promote over there. So with the keyword tool, you can look up some related keywords so that you know what to add in your actual listing. It also allows you to see the search results for a certain term like goal setting. So you can analyze basically 100 listings and it'll give you the average price, the competition, and things like that. So when I'm looking at these keywords, I see that the actual term keyword goal setting works pretty well. It has a decent number of searches every month, and it doesn't have a ton of competition, and the same with goal planner. So when I go back, those are the best ones. And then after that, the search volume drops drastically. But I'm still going to go ahead and include Goal Tracker because it does have some searches and it looks like not a lot of competition. And then as I scroll down, I see that most of these don't have enough traffic to really justify going after them for a search result. So if no one's looking for something, if there are no searches for a keyword, then you're not going to want to use that keyword because it's not going to bring anybody in and search. So it doesn't matter if you rank for something if no one is actually searching that in the search engine. And Etsy is a search engine. So they do have a algorithm that shows items based on what people are searching and what they've looked at in the past. So paying attention to your keywords is something really important you're going to want to look at if you're listing, especially on Etsy. But this is also true on any platform you use to sell digital products. So if you are selling on your own website with WooCommerce or Shopify or Send Out, any of the programs that you can use to sell digital products, you're still going to want to optimize all of your listings for search because that is how people are going to generally find your products. But we did see before that a lot of people also are using Pinterest to find things like goal setting. So we would also want to use Pinterest as a way to drive traffic to our printable. You will want to make sure that you're optimizing for search, even if that's not your main traffic driver. So you'll never want to turn down search or have things that aren't optimized for search because that is so important, especially on Etsy. That is really driven by the search results, and that is how people find things. They are already on the marketplace. They are typing in keywords of things that they want to find, and that is how they are finding things that they're buying. So I'm going to take these three and make them my main keywords for this listing because they are the ones that seem to have some traffic. So I will just use those to play around with putting them all into the title. You can just list keywords and make them just keyword after keyword. There are some people on Etsy that do that. I like to add a little bit extra, so I will add in some extra keywords and go for some more long tail things that maybe weren't showing up in the searches, but describe it really well to an actual user. So you're not just going after the keyword search engine results that don't necessarily make sense to anybody but a robot, but you are kind of wanting to write something with the person in mind that's going to be buying this. So after that, you do the about listing and show who made it. Hopefully you did, because Etsy is about handmade items. Next, you will want to select a category, which for some reason I skipped while I was doing this listing, and then select if it's a physical or digital product. I only do digital products currently, so that's all I can tell you about, but I select digital and then I automatically renew. So this is a very passive income stream for me once I'm done with my listing. So I put it digital and then automatic relisting, so it just does it automatically every time I make a sale. And of course, next you will want to do the description, and you want to have a brief overview that shows the best things about it. Shoppers only see the first few lines of this, so you want to make sure that the beginning kind of describes it well and can be attention grabbing if you're that kind of writer or item person. And then I always like to include details about the listing so that I'm covered in case they didn't realize it was a digital download or they didn't realize that there are no refunds. I just kind of put all my shop info in to my listings. That is a personal preference. I think Etsy actually encourages you to keep your descriptions more brief, but as a digital seller, I like to make sure that I have everything in there covered just so that it is clear what they are getting. They're getting a digital download, an instant download. So in your description, you're going to want to include those items that you had looked up in the keywords beforehand. So you'll want to make sure that you have, like for this one, you'll want to have goal setting, goal tracker, goal planner. Use those at least a couple times in your description in addition to all the other words that you're going to use to describe the product. So this is an area where you can really include all of the keywords and get your SEO improved upon. The description is a great place, not to stuff keywords because you want it to actually make sense to the person that's looking at buying this, but work the keywords into sentences and into describing the product in a clear way. And then, like I said, I like to include the just what you receive, how to download, and all of the important info that people need for a digital product because it is a little bit different. So putting your shop policies, if you want them to know them very clearly, here is personally what I like to do. Next, you will want to assign a section in your shop so it shows up if you are looking at a certain section of your shop. And then next, you will want to do tags. All of these say optional, but I found that it is best to include them. Etsy seems to like all of these attribution little extras that help people figure out what it is, and it helps Etsy figure out what your product is so that they can sort it and put it up to the right people when they are using the search engine. So the more little signals and things you can fill out that show Etsy what you're actually selling, the better. So I added all of the keywords: goal planner, goal setting, planner printable, and then what it was, an instant download. And I added a couple other like SMART goals. Then I added my shop name because people do search for my shop because I have a lot of repeat buyers and people that know me from YouTube. So I do put that as part of my keywords, my tags as well. And then I also like to go back and kind of re-look through all of the keywords and see if there's any I kind of missed or could work, or things that aren't necessarily a keyword I'm going after because it's huge competition, but could be very related, so might make a good tag. So I don't necessarily ever go after printable planner as a keyword that I think I'm going to be ranking in search for because there's a huge amount of competition and a ton of people doing it. So it's just not worth putting in effort, but I will use that as a tag sometimes just because it does show what I am actually selling and it is very relevant to the type of products I am making. So I do try to max out all of the tags and make them relevant even if they're not necessarily the most specific. So I do go through and try to find the ones just to make sure I have 13 tags, and that gives Etsy just more information on what exactly I am making and what people might think it is and want to buy. So it's just more information. The more information, the better your SEO, the better your search results. So I always recommend filling all of this out. And then for materials, I actually never used to add this because for digital products, it seems like it doesn't make sense. But like I said, the more information Etsy has, the better. So then inventory and pricing, I do basically what I think the average price is minus a little bit, but still enough that it makes sense for me to sell. Since I do digital products, it can be a little bit under. And then I always put $999 as my listings inventory so that I don't ever have to come back and just increase it because it will automatically relist and sell. I somehow skipped my category earlier, so I went back and added that in. For category, you have to select that. So I would just type in words that describe your product until it kind of lands on something that might fit for your product. And then for colors, even if you're doing a printable, I would select white. Again, the more information, the better. I don't really do many seasonal things, but if you're selling seasonal items, that is also an attribute that you can add, which helps Etsy really push out your item during the holidays, during the time where people are buying for the holiday that you are making a product for. Okay, one of the final steps is adding your actual product, and that is for me this workbook of goal setting printables, and I have two colors, so I'm going to actually upload both. You can do separate colors or allow people to buy one or the other, but I like to double up my value on my printables so that people feel like they're getting a really good deal. So I usually include both in one listing so they get either or color. And some people can't print in color, so I like to do a lot of black and white stuff. And then if they want the option of color, they can do that as well. So the final step, or it could be the first step for you, it's actually the first in the listing, but I always do it last just because I want to make sure I have done all my keywords and I know what this is going to be called. And then I use that information to create my photos for the listing. So this is going to be a goal setting planner printable, which are some of the keywords and tags that I included in my listing. So I have a preset listing template basically in Canva, and then I just go through and change it to match the listing that I'm currently on. So as you can see, I'm picking one of my brand colors. I have a few colors I use all the time for everything, so I'm just switching out to one of the other ones. Since I recently used that pink, I want to do a different color for the goal setting, and the goal setting color matches the actual color I used in the printable, so I think that's going to really look nice. But having something set up in Canva or somewhere where you're not creating thumbnails from scratch every time is a really great idea. It speeds up the process so much. So as you can see, I'm really making these very quickly. And because I have a template already set up, all I do basically is drag my uploads in Canva over into the photo areas where I have this already set up, and then I just am done. Really, that's all it takes. I did end up on this one wanting to go back and add something I didn't see in my upload. So all I did was grab the item, take a screenshot, and then add it in as a photo. This is a really easy process and one of the easiest ways I found to do it. So I don't do anything fancy. I literally just do the same thing every time for all my listings, and it's worked pretty well. You can do mock-ups a similar way as this. So you basically just see your design in a physical setting, and that is something that you can buy in any of the links down below. I will leave, you can buy mock-ups, and I will give you some examples of places you can buy them if you don't want to create like a thumbnail like this. This is very branded, but actually I think honestly for digital products, mock-ups look the best and work the best, because especially if you're doing wall art, you'll want to see that on a wall and see what it looks like. Or if you're doing something that someone's going to use on a tablet, it's really nice to see that visualized. So that tends to actually work better than what I'm doing here. But since I do planner printables, it works pretty well because people just want to see what they're actually getting and what it's going to show. So it really depends on the type of digital product that you're doing. Or if you're doing a physical product, you're going to want actual photos of your product, and they're going to have to look really good. So keep that in mind. The photos and the thumbnails, there are a couple different strategies for that, and I can make a video on the different ways to do it. But you're just going to want to stick with what is working, and since this works for me, I'm going to stick with it. But if I was doing another kind of product, I would change it up. So for me, I always rename the actual file name of my items to match the listing. So this just gives me a little extra bit of SEO because the images are being searched on Etsy too. So it's just giving more information to Etsy about what your product is about. As always, more information is better. If you are doing digital photos, I recommend doing either something like I've done here where the information is visible but really small, or doing something where it has a watermark on it, because people are super sketchy and they will steal your designs and have no problem with it, because I guess people don't understand that it is illegal and it is stealing and it's just really wrong to do, but people will steal your stuff. So Don't ever upload just a design of your product that someone can screenshot and print or steal, because they will do it. So after all of this, you are ready to publish a listing. So you just click publish, and if you're doing digital, I do renew automatically. Even if you're doing physical, if you can handle the inventory, I would renew automatically. It's just the easiest way to keep your shop going. So as you can see, this is my listing. Once it's done, it's got all of my thumbnails. It has everything that shows is digital download, and it kind of gives you an overview of what you're going to be getting when you buy it. Of course, it has the description over to the side, and then you can see that my shop has sales and reviews, which are really good and helpful for also boosting up my ratings and search results. As always, more information is better. And then because I also want to promote my YouTube channel, I include that. And then this just looks really good. So I am done. That is a listing on Etsy. If you have any questions or want to see any of this in depth, let me know, and I can do a more in-depth tutorial on any part of it. Just let me know in the comments. Thanks, guys.